Tanking is the absolute best way to skip those pesky queues in the Elder Scrolls Online and jump straight into your dungeon. No waiting around on street corners like for groups like a DPS, just queue, jump in and enjoy yourself. So we're making a tank here today. We're going to be building a Warden tank, which is absolutely one of the best tanks in ESO. They have great utility and group support on top of unparalleled survivability and a really cool looking skill set. If you want to see what other tanks have to offer in the game or fancy checking out my builds for other roles for all other content in the game, then remember to hit like and subscribe. So let's get to it. The first thing you need to know is race, which will be Nord. Nords have the best resistance boost on top of ultimate generation, which is the best tool a tank can have. Next up is the Munderstone, which should be the Atronach in our case. This is the best for almost any tank because magical recovery is absolutely vital in order for a tank to function well in ESO. Your food buff should be the Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Use the Smoked Bear Haunch if you happen to be rolling in cash like a maniac, but for me, the Sugar Skulls are almost just as good at a far more cost-effective pricing. Your potion will usually be standard Tri-Restoration potions, but I like to carry trash pots around as well, so I'm not blowing my money at every turn. Since we get more than enough max stamina and max magicka, we dump all of our attribute points into health. Your champion points starting in the warfare section should be Duelist Rebuff, Unassailable, Enduring Resolve and Ironclad, while in the fitness section you should be taking Bracing Anchor, Rejuvenation, Boundless Vitality and Fortified. Now that we've covered the key details, let's look at the gear. The first set we'll be running is Perfected Claw of Yolnahkriin, which provides a very valuable and easy to use buff to your group. If you can't get this from Vet Cloudrest, then use Pangrit Denmother instead from the Lost Depths. Next up is Turning Tide, providing one of the most powerful debuffs in the game. I absolutely recommend this, and you can get this from Shipwright's Regret. Another one from Shipwright's Regret is our monster set, which will be Nazaray. This synergizes perfectly with Turning Tide to get major uptime on that excellent major vulnerability debuff. We also run the Perfected Puncturing Remedy set from Dragonstar Arena. This is excellent for survivability, and you don't need the Perfected one if that is a little bit too much for you. Just go with the normal one. That's the gear covered, so let's check out the skills. On the front bar, you'll be running Silver Leash, Fetter Infection, Resolving Vigor, Pierce Armor, Heroic Slash, and Aggressive Horn. And on the back bar, we have Elemental Blockade, Frost Clench, Gripping Shards, Bullnetch, Expansive Frost Cloak, and Replenishing Barrier. Silver Leash is our go-to crowd control for pulling in adds so your group can burst them down as quickly as possible. Fetter Infection provides a nice minor vulnerability debuff, but if someone else in your group is providing this debuff, then switch this to something else instead. Similarly, while Resolving Vigor does provide a powerful heal and minor resolve buff, if your healer is doing a good job and they're also using Combat Prayer, you can switch this one to something else. As you might expect, we use Pierce Armor for our primary taunt, of course, providing huge defensive debuffs and activating our Master Sword and Shield as well. Heroic Slash is an excellent source of ultimate regeneration through the major heroism buff that it provides, and it also deals out the minor maim debuff as well. One of the best ultimates in the game, Aggressive Horn, will boost the damage output of your entire group massively for a very long duration. We use Elemental Blockade as a useful crowd control tool that can also debuff with the chilled status effect. The same goes for Frost Clench, which also serves as a useful ranged taunt that actually costs magicka instead, allowing for us to balance our resources. Another useful crowd control tool is Gripping Shard, which immobilizes enemies caught while also having a higher chance to activate the chilled status effect. It's very useful to always keep Bullnetch up. Not only does it supply a large amount of stamina over time, but it also periodically removes a negative effect from you. We choose the Expansive Frostcloak morph for group survivability, providing major resolve to you and your whole team. Most DPS don't run a source of resistance boost, so this will be especially useful for keeping them alive when they're standing in stupid. And finally, Replenishing Barrier can save your team in a pinch and will protect against much of the worst the game has to offer while refunding ultimate back to you. Now that should be all that you need to know to build your own Warden tank, but if you want to try out some other classes, then remember to like and subscribe and see what I have to offer. I do builds for all classes and roles for all content in the game, so check it out. Thanks for watching, and as always, have fun.